DreAllDay.com.
The easiest and the hardest situations to win in. Now, being that all of us are operating in this performance-based business called life, and because we're professionals who are programmed and expected to understand that when we get in front of us, when we get a game in front of us, our mandate is to go out there and succeed and win. Let's talk about the situations that we are bound to face and how they affect our odds of success based on the way they're laid out and based on how we're approaching it. And as I get into the points, you'll understand exactly what that means. Just remember the topic here today. We're going to talk about the easiest and the hardest situations for you to be in when it comes to the odds that you will have of winning in every different circumstance. Let's point it out. And I'm going to keep these high levels so we can condense this down into 3 points, because I could actually break this down to a million, but let's just go with 3. Point number 1, topic once again here today is the easiest and the hardest situations to win in. Number 1, easiest situation to win in, or the most impossible one, Most impossible situation is when you have no game, when you are not good. Remember that having game is one of the 12 work on your game commandments. It's actually commandment number 13, because it's 13 commandments, that you got to have some game. Game simply means ability to do the thing, whatever the thing happens to be. So if the game that you're in is basketball, you need to have some ability to actually play basketball. If the game is writing books, you need some ability to write books. If the game is being a veterinarian for ducks and geese, you need to have some skills for helping ducks and geese on a veterinarian's level. So the game simply means, do you have the ability to do the job, whatever the job happens to be? If you don't have the ability to do the job, it doesn't matter what the circumstance is, you're going to look bad and you're probably going to fail simply because you have no skills. You have no ability. But no game is very difficult to win anything. So you need to have an understanding of what are the requirements of what needs to happen here, combined with your ability to actually execute on the requirements. Those are 2 different things. There's a lot of people out here who can tell you what the requirements are to be a thing, but they don't actually have those requirements. What I'm telling you is that you need both. You need to know what the requirements are, and you need to actually have them so that you can execute on the job, whatever it may be. At the professional level, it's impossible to win with no skills, no knowledge, and no ability. Now, in many professions, they will teach you the skills from the very beginning. I remember when I interviewed my sister back in maybe 2017. On this very show. I don't do too many interviews, but she's one of the people that I interviewed. And her first job when she got out of college was as a investment banker at this company called UBS. And I remember asking her, because she got the job, part of the reason why she got the job is because she had graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League college, and she probably had really good grades. I don't know what her GPA was, but I'm assuming it was very good. And she went on to get a bunch of degrees after that. And I asked her, when you got hired, being that you just came out of the University of Pennsylvania, this prestigious university, did they expect that you had a certain level of skill already simply because they were hiring you based on your pedigree? And she said, no, they taught us from the ground up as if we knew absolutely nothing. It was very interesting to me because I'm thinking, why are they demanding that a person have a certain background, a certain pedigree, if they're going to teach you all from the ground up anyway? They can just hire somebody who's working at McDonald's to go be an investment banker. What's the difference? I mean, if they're teaching you all the skills from the very beginning. Interesting thing about the education and the education to job pipeline space that we're not going to get deep into here today. I'm bringing all that up to say is that in some professions and some careers and jobs, they will give you the game. They will tell you what the game is. Here's what you do. Here's how you make the milkshake. Here's how you prepare the French fries. Here's how you make a cheeseburger here at McDonald's. This is the McDonald's way of doing it. They will prepare you with the game and show you exactly how to do it. This process is usually called training. And in most businesses, there's a training period that they bring you through to show you exactly how we do things here. And at the same time, many jobs expect you to have some level of experience so they don't have to train you from absolute zero. And again, my sister, I didn't go into depth with her on this concept. Hey, what exactly did they expect you to know? They expect you to know something, right? Anything that had anything to do with the school that you went to or your college background. I didn't go into depth with her on it. But let's just say if I got a job as a salesperson, for example, and they say, Dre, we're looking for an outside salesperson. This is a mostly commission-based job. They're usually looking for someone who's had some experience selling things, or maybe they're looking for someone who has no experience so they can just groom you from the ground up because they know their system is so tight that if you just follow the system, you'll be all right. So it depends on the circumstance. What I'm saying in this circumstance is that if you get hired for a job in which you have no past experience and they don't train you, you're probably not going to succeed. You get it? And if you go into a space in which there is no training and you're just supposed to show up and be good, but you're not good, you're going to lose. Does everybody understand this? At the amateur level, it is possible for you to get lucky and get a participation trophy, even though you're a fucking bum at what you do. At the amateur level, there are participation trophies. Everybody gets something just because you participated. My father, for example, still to this day, he's been doing this for a long time. He coaches youth baseball, and his team just recently, from when I'm recording this, they won the championship in his league or whatever, the bracket that he coaches in, which is, I think he coaches 10 to 12-year-old kids, and they won the championship. And there was something that I saw, because I don't mess with Facebook much, like looking at people's personal Facebook. I have a business Facebook page, which is Facebook/Work on Your Game University. After my previous Facebook page got hacked, and your page gets hacked, forget about getting it back. And I do have a personal page, but I never even log into the personal side of Facebook because I only look at it for the business side. But my dad had posted something, so I went over to that side of Facebook, and I saw on his profile, he had posted a bunch of clips from things happening in the baseball league that he coaches in. And one of them was, after the season ended, they had a participation trophy ceremony. So they had this table full of trophies. And at the end of the season, all the players on the team get a trophy for having participated in the baseball league. Now, generally, I am not against it up to a certain age bracket. I think once you get past about 12 years old, no more participation trophies. Now you got to actually win something or you go home empty-handed. 10 to 12 years old, okay. When I was maybe 9 or 10 years old, I played youth baseball, and I remember getting some kind of trophy or tchotchke because I was a member of the team. Our team, I don't know if we even, I know we didn't win the championship. I do know that. We did not win the championship. So we just got a trophy just because we were on the team, which is fine, again, up to about a certain point. But any of you who's listening to this, if you're over the age of 12, you don't get a participation trophy. You got to actually win to get a trophy. At the professional level, usually you don't get a trophy if you didn't do anything. Even in environments where you have handouts, such as DEI programs or diversity mandates, or people getting put in positions based on their relationships and not because of their actual skills, nepotism, you have the kind of things at the professional level. Because, again, people may not be measuring things by performance alone. You can hide in some way, but if the environment is performance-based enough, you're going to get exposed if you can't play. Anywhere where performance actually matters, you cannot get away with not having game. So if you have no game, it's impossible for you to win. Everybody understand this? Good. Let's move on to point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is the easiest and the hardest ways for you to be successful. Easiest, hardest scenarios in which you can be successful. Let's talk about the easiest way. So we told you the hardest way is when you just are a bum. You ain't shit at what you do. You're going to lose. Easiest way to be successful is when you're really good and nobody even knows that you're good. This is the easiest way to succeed. Yes, and you heard this correctly. The easiest way to succeed is when you're really good at what you do and nobody knows who the hell you are. And the fact that nobody knows who you are matters a lot, because when I get to the next point, you're going to understand why this point is the easiest one of all. See, this is the easiest one to win in, because when you not only have the ability to succeed and perform, and you can do it, and nobody knows you, here's what you don't have. You don't have expectations. You don't have anyone looking at you and saying, oh, him right there, he's the one who's probably going to win the race. Or her over there, she's the best. She's probably going to win the competition. See, if everybody knows who you are, then they're expecting you to be good. But if nobody knows who the hell you are, no one expects anything. They're not even noticing that you even showed up to the competition, let alone are they expecting you to do anything. So there's no expectations on you, and you're really good, and you don't have anybody gunning for you because, again, nobody knows who the hell you are. This is the easiest situation in which you can become successful. No pressure, no expectations. You have competition, but not really, because nobody even is acknowledging you in the first place. This is pretty easy. All right. If you ever watch National Geographic, any of you ever see these clips, whether you see the clip or you watch the whole show on National Geographic, what's the easiest way for a predator to make a kill? Easiest way for a predator to make a kill is when the prey, that's the animal that gets killed, the animal that gets eaten, the gazelle, or the buffalo. Well, buffaloes are not even the best example, but the buffalo can fight back. But a gazelle or a deer or something like that, the easiest way for the predator to make a kill is when the gazelle never saw the lion coming. The gazelle was just over eating some grass and didn't know the lion was hanging out behind the grass, and the lion jumps out from behind the grass, kills the gazelle, and the gazelle never even got a chance to use its best skill, which is running away. All right, that's the easiest kill that the lion could possibly get. If you ask a lion if lions could talk, they would confirm that this is true. because the prey never got a chance to protect itself or make itself hard to catch. And a lot of prey makes itself hard to catch by running away because it's unexpecting of what's coming. When your competition doesn't expect you and has no thought of you, you got a pretty good chance of winning if you're actually good. It's the same thing when you're a high-level performer because nobody knows you. Everything you do then is a surprise because it's unexpected by the observers and is unexpected by the competition. They're like, who's this guy? Now, they don't realize that you're good till about halfway through the competition, you're already winning. This is a great thing because also in these situations, if nobody knows who you are, but you know that you're good, well, what are you going to be? Probably pretty motivated and pretty excited and pretty relaxed because, again, there's no pressure on you because nobody's expecting anything of you. You know that you're good. So it's like you have this clear path to success and you know you're being overlooked. So you may be motivated by, okay, nobody's paying attention to me, but I'm actually better than everybody in here. Watch this. This is a great thing. Again, you can use that motivation, prove everybody that they should have been watching you in the first place. Also, at the same time, here's the trade-off of this. This is a short-lived positive feeling because once you win and you show everybody who you are and what you can do, and now everybody's noticing you because you just won, now you have everybody's attention. Now you can't sneak up on anybody because next time they are going to see you coming. Next time they're going to be anticipating you. Next time they're going to be expecting that you can do something. Any of you who follow sports and team sports, and this is also true in individual sports, actually every sport, they have this thing called the scouting report. And the scouting report is not just about looking for players who might be on the team in the future, such as the NBA draft or the baseball draft or the hockey or football draft, not the draft for scouting players who might get on the team in the future. There's also scouting internally. Internal scouting is when the Dallas Mavericks go and scout against the Portland Trailblazers because we're about to play against them. We need to find out who the players are on their team, and both teams are doing this to each other. Who are their players? What are those players' tendencies? What are they strong at? What are they weak at? And how are we going to attack this other team, or how are we going to attack a specific player on the other team? Because this player on the other team, this player is really good and they killed us the last time we played against them. What's the scouting report on this player? In other words, how do they play? What are they good at? What are they bad at? How are they best? How is it best to attack them? What should we stay away from with this player so that we give ourselves the best possible chance of slowing this player down, hampering their ability, and also in turn giving ourselves the best chance of winning a game? And the way scouting reports work, ladies and gentlemen, is that scouting reports get created and updated based on your past performance. Therefore, let's say, for example, you show up on a team. I'll give you an example, as a matter of fact. Several years ago, this is probably back in the early 2000s. I don't remember around, this is probably maybe 2005, 6, 7, 8-ish, somewhere around that time. There's a player in the NBA. He was actually from Philadelphia, PA, my hometown, which is Philadelphia. I'm based in South Florida now, but I'm from Philadelphia. It's a guy named Ronald Murray. Ronald Flip Murray. He was from Philadelphia. He was well known in Philadelphia as a very good player in high school. He went to an HBCU in college, and for the most part, I didn't notice anything about him because I didn't pay attention to the HBCU circuit of basketball. It was mostly on the East Coast going down to the South, like Baltimore, VA, North Carolina, South Carolina, etc. He played in at HBCU. I believe it was Shaw University, but don't hold me to that. He ends up in the NBA. He goes to the NBA. At one point, he's on the team called the Seattle Supersonics, which are now known as the Oklahoma City Thunder. They moved from Seattle to Oklahoma City. And there was a time period during one season when Ronald Murray was a backup guard to a guy named Ray Allen. Ray Allen was the star of the team for the Seattle Sonics, but Ray Allen got injured, so Ronald Murray got bumped into the starting lineup, and he was the best and most capable scorer that the Sonics kind of had. So they were giving Ronald Murray the ball and the green light, as we say in basketball. Green light means when you get the ball, do your thing and try to score points. And a guy like Ronald Murray was known as a scorer. He took that green light, he did something with it. So for a nice little stretch, it was probably maybe, I don't know how long this was. I would have to look it up. I'm not going to look it up. But it's probably in a maybe 5 to 15 game stretch. Ronald Murray was scoring a lot of points, more points than you would think a guy of his pedigree would be scoring in NBA games as the main scorer. See, it's one thing when you're surprising people as this guy who came off the bench, you scored a bunch of points a few times. That's a surprise because the scouting report wasn't focused on you at all. Another thing, when you're the starting guard, you're scoring all these points. What made the situation a little bit unique was that people hadn't really got a chance to see Ronald Murray as a featured guy because he wasn't on the roster as a featured guy. So the teams they were playing against, he's scoring 25, 30 points in a game. Let me see if I can pull up Ronald Murray's I'm going to try to find his basketball reference and see if we can pull up some information, see if I can find what season this was that he did this stuff. Thing is, he wasn't the main guy in the what's the word that I'm looking for here? In the scouting report. So they weren't able to exactly plan around this guy, but he had a nice little stretch where he was scoring a bunch of points. So it looks like if I'm pulling the right season, there's a couple seasons here where he had a nice little scoring average. For one season, he played with LeBron James over in Cleveland and scored pretty well there. Actually, his highest scoring year was this one year he was playing in Cleveland with LeBron James. This was earlier. I believe this was the 2004. So 2003 into the 2004 season. And the Seattle Sonics, I'm looking at, see if I can find it. Yeah, this was early in the season. So my memory is serving correctly. So it was early in the season. I got the year wrong. It was 2003. It's early in the year. Ray Allen is not playing. I remember Ray Allen was hurt and Ronald Murray is playing. So the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is a nice little stretch of the first, maybe, I'm looking at this in his game log. It's about 10 games, as I said, 10 games. Did I say 8, 9, I said maybe 10, right? It's the Seattle Supersonics. He started all 10 games, Ronald Murray. He played 36 minutes per game, which is a lot of minutes per game to be playing in the NBA. That's starters minutes. The Sonics went 6-4. They won 6 of these games and they only lost 4. Ronald Murray was shooting 50% from the floor, which is actually a pretty high percentage. He was shooting 39% from 3. Rounded off, it'd be 40%, which is also very good. He was making 65% of his free throws, which makes no sense. He's making all these other shots. He's not making free throws. He was grabbing, didn't say how many, rebounds, 4 rebounds a game. He was dishing out 4 assists per game, 1.5 steals a game, and averaging 24 points a game. These are all-star level numbers. Now, Ronald Murray never made an all-star game, but these are all-star level numbers that he was putting up in this particular season. I'm bringing all this up to say this. The reason he was able to do this is because nobody knew who the hell this guy was. So when he popped up, I'm not saying they didn't know who he was, like he didn't have a uniform. I'm saying that the scouting report was never focused on Ronald Murray because the scouting report was about Ray Allen, but Ray Allen wasn't playing. So this guy just went through a little run through the NBA. He's putting up these great stats and people are, who the hell is this guy? We were not prepared for this guy. And the scouting report hadn't gotten out on him yet. But eventually what happens is, and this happens in all pro sports, if you're a new player and you are good, but there's no expectation of you and you surprise a lot of people by beating them with your skill, people are like, oh, damn, I didn't know this person was like that. Okay. Now what happens is the scouting report starts to get out on you. What happens is team starts to say, okay, this guy is really good if he does this, so don't let him do this, make him do that. This guy's really good if he gets the ball over here, so don't let him get the ball there, make him get the ball over here. This guy's good in this way, but he's not good in that way, so make him go to that way where he's less efficient. And what they call it is the scouting report getting out. That's the phrase. The scouting report gets out about you. People find out about your strengths, your weaknesses, your tendencies, and now all of a sudden, the opponents who you surprised 2 weeks ago in the game, you're playing them again now, you're not surprising them this time. Now they're ready for you. There was another example that happened in the NBA with this several years later, a guy named Jeremy Lin. Some of you may remember this guy. He's an Asian guy who was playing in the NBA for the New York Knicks. So this is a much more high-profile situation. It was similar to Ron Murray, similar situation, but Jeremy Lin was more, I guess it was more surprising because Jeremy Lin is an Asian guy and he was playing for this huge team called the New York Knicks, as opposed to Ron Murray, this black guy playing for the Seattle Supersonics. And Jeremy Lin was the same thing. He surprised a whole bunch of players with this short run of games. It's probably about, I don't remember how many games this was, maybe 10 to 15 games. And they called it Lin Sanity. His last name is Lin, L-I-N, Lin Sanity. And for about a 10 to 15 game run, Jeremy Lin is looking amazing. And he's looking like one of the best players in the NBA. And they're beating all these good teams. And New York City is going crazy over this Asian guy who's now playing point guard for the New York Knicks. And New York City has a huge Asian population. And I remember this time frame that there were Asians who don't even care about basketball who were stopping at bodegas in New York just to watch the screen, to watch this Asian guy who's dominating on the best, not the best, but the biggest, most famous team in the NBA during this little run that Jeremy Lin had. And it was the exact same thing. He had about a 10 to 15 game run of doing great. Then after about that time frame, what happened is the scouting report got out on Jeremy Lin. People found out about his weaknesses. People found out how to basically stop him from doing what he does best. And Lin Sanity ended quietly right after that, combined with the fact that his teammate, who had been injured during his famous run, a guy that you may have heard of by the name of Carmelo Anthony, he came back from injury, and Carmelo Anthony basically demanded the ball so often that Jeremy Lin couldn't do his Lin Sanity things anymore either, on top of the fact the scouting report got out about him, and that was the last of Lin Sanity. Whole point here is, folks, that you can surprise a lot of people with what you can do and nobody expects anything of you, but once people start to find out about you, things change. Let's move on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is the easiest and the hardest ways to be successful. Number 3, the hardest way to be successful, ladies and gentlemen. I told you the impossible ways when you have no game. So it's impossible. So, well, I won't even call that hard. We're just going to call it, it ain't happening. I'm talking about the hardest way to be successful, where you can succeed, but it's going to take a lot of effort, is when you're really good and everybody not only knows that you're good, but they also expect you to be good every single time. And if you happen to be in a competitive space, you also have opponents who are trying to stop you from doing the very good things that you're known for doing. This is the hardest time to be successful. This is the hardest for several reasons. For one, mentally, you now have a new challenge that is called expectations. Nobody knows you and nobody expects anything of you. There are no expectations. It means you're going out there completely carefree, and whatever you do is extra. It's gravy, as we call it. See, it's one thing to win, but nobody knows who you are. That's the gravy winning. Oh, we didn't expect you to do anything. You did great. Great. Thanks. But if you show that this is how you can normally play, and people start to say, oh, wait a minute, this person really is this good? Okay, do it all the time. Now there's an expectation. Now you walk into the job knowing that there's a whole bunch of people expecting you to be as good as you were yesterday. See, there's one thing, no one's expecting you to do anything. Another thing, everybody's expecting you to do everything. Can you still show up the same way? Now you have a whole other mental issue to deal with. And if you don't deliver, everything under you may collapse because you didn't perform. See, what about when the team decides, you know what, we're going to build our entire team around the expectation that you are going to go out there and score 30 points every game. The expectation that you are going to close 30 deals every month. Now there's an expectation that you got to close 30 deals or score 30 points. And if you don't do it, then that hurts the entire team, because the entire team's structure is based around the guarantee that you're going to deliver the way you're supposed to deliver. We're guaranteeing you're going to make this much money, and this is the way that we can maintain our household and pay our bills, and the kids can go to school and we can eat dinner, because you're expected to make this much money every month. All right, now you got to go make the money. And if you don't do it, then everything underneath you falls apart. Now there's an expectation. All right, that's a different level of game. Now, you didn't lose any skill. You still have the skill. But again, it's one thing to have skill when nobody needs anything from you. It's another thing to have skill when everybody needs everything from you. That's why this becomes harder. Notice that the only time, and the challenge with this, with everything possibly collapsing underneath you if you fail to perform, challenge is that this becomes much more mental than it is a challenge of your actual ability. Notice the only time I really was talking about your ability to do a thing was in the first point, when I said if you don't have any ability, then forget it. You have no chance. But as soon as you get ability, now things start to change. People start to notice you, number one, and now people start expecting things of you, number two. And you're going to start expecting things of yourself, number three. And that level of pressure can be overwhelming for some people if you're not mentally prepared for it. This is the reason why a lot of high-level performers have coaches who help them with mindset more than they're helping them with skill set. Most of the people I work with have very high level skill sets in terms of what they're doing. What they don't have all the time, or what they often need, what do we want to call it, tweaking of, amongst other things, is the mindset with which they approach the thing that they're doing. I'm often not telling someone how to do something. You're a high level performer, you already know how to do it. It's the mental game that goes around all the stuff that you're doing. That's the challenge. Once you have proven that you have an ability, the entire challenge becomes much more mental than physical, because now you have expectations from everyone. They're not only hoping or watching for you to succeed, but often at the pro level, they need you to succeed. They're not just hoping you succeed. They need you to actually do it, because if you don't do it, there's a problem for everybody if you don't deliver. This is a whole different beast, and it's a whole different game. I heard Michael Jordan talk about this. He said that they call it making the leap. In basketball specifically, they were talking about making a leap. When a player goes from being good, and we know that they had the potential to be good, to when they become great, which is when they start doing it consistently. Michael Jordan said making a leap is when you do it every single night, not just here or there, not just every random night once a week. You have a great game, but you have a great game every game. And this is given the fact that every opponent that you face knows who you are. You're at the top of the scouting report. I mean, the whole scouting report is about how do we stop this guy, because stopping him will give us the best chance of winning. Every team has game plan for how to stop you, and you still figure out a way to do what the team needs you to do. Despite the fact that other teams are game planning to slow you down from doing it, you still do it. That's when you make the leap. And that's a mental challenge, not a physical challenge. Physically, your abilities haven't gone away. It's mentally, can you get yourself to do it with everything designed to stop you from doing it? That's a mental challenge. That's a whole different beast. It's even tougher, again, when you have active competitors trying to stop you from success. This happens in business the same way it happens in sports. When you as a business person, you may not be facing the situation right now. It could happen in the future. And there may be opponents out there who are scheming to take your spot, and you don't even know that they exist right now, but they're watching you. They're paying attention to you and trying to figure out, how can I take the spot of what this person has? There are people out there who know that you exist and you don't know that they exist. Any of you who has any level of success and it's outwardly facing, meaning people can know about it, there are people scheming to try to take your spot, trying to take your customers, trying to take your space in the marketplace. You may not know about them. They know about you. All right, this is the mental challenge. And once you start to have competition, that does not make the expectation go away. It actually makes the expectation strong, because now you got to beat people on top of, you got to meet the expectations. And this is why a lot of people can crumble mentally when the expectations get too heavy. Again, they didn't lose their ability. Let's recap today's class. The easiest and hardest situations to win in. Number one is the impossible one, is when you have no game. You have no game, you can't win. All right, game is one of the 13 work on your game commandments. You must have game, you must have ability. If you have no game, forget about it. Actually, don't forget about it. If you have no game, go work on your game, then come back and we can get to point number 2. Easiest way to win is when you're really good, but nobody knows who you are, because there are no expectations. No one's even looking at you, and everything you do is extra because nobody even knew who you were in the first place. It's kind of like the lion who kills a gazelle who walks right in front of the lion because the gazelle didn't notice the lion. That's an easy meal for the lion. The lion didn't have to do anything for the meal, and the gazelle didn't even get a chance to run away. Number 3, the hardest way, is when you're really good and everyone not only knows you, but they expect you to win. So this is the lion who, as soon as you get 100 yards away from a pack of gazelles, they all smell you, they all see you, and they all start running away. They start running before you even start running, and they're faster than you. So how the hell are you ever going to eat? All right, that's the challenge of the lion. And if the lion doesn't solve that problem, guess what happens to the lion? The lion dies of starvation. All right, literally dies of starvation. And all of you out there, you may not die of starvation, but you may lose your spot if the expectations get so high that you can't deliver on them. This is the game that you're signed up for. As soon as you show people that you have game, this is what they signed you up for. You didn't have to volunteer for the sign up. It's kind of like the movie 8 Mile. Remember in the movie 8 Mile when B Rabbit, who was Eminem, his friend Mekhi Phifer, kept signing him up to battle, and B Rabbit didn't really want to battle, and eventually they start arguing about it because B Rabbit was getting tired of the pressure to sign up to battle, because he was so good. His friend knew he was good. He kept signing him up for the battle raps, and he didn't even want to battle rap, because when you show that you're that good, now people start expecting things of you, and now you either meet it or you fall back, one or the other. That said, everybody, at workonyourgameuniversity.com, you're a high-level performer. Get to working with me directly in our highest level program, where we can start tweaking your strategy, your systems, and your execution to make sure you're getting the results that you want, and higher and higher and higher. And if you are just getting started, you want to make sure you can at least get access and get in the room and get started for how do you start building your business? How do you get things in the right place? How do I know what direction I'm going? Join the inner circle. You can find out about both programs by going to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre all